Hey everybody, it's JCTheSniper again, coming to you this time with a review of the Gerber Paraframe 1 folding knife. This little knife right here. First off, for this knife, philosophy of use, I'm going to go ahead and say the philosophy of use for this knife is an EDC knife. Blade, size, and lack of jimping, and a few other features exclude this knife from the category of tactical folders, but it's a fairly decent EDC knife, so that's the capacity we'll be talking about it in today. And I think it's a decent knife for EDC. I don't have too many problems with it for everyday carry. Size and weight of this knife: blade length is 3 inches. Handle length is just over 4, overall length of about 7, and weight is quite amazing, 2.7 ounces. And obviously that comes because it has this stainless steel, fully skeletonized, pillared handle. So, you know, that's a very, very light handle. Nothing to it at all, really. Yeah, so that's it for the weight and everything. So size is, you know, decent for everyday carry. Small if you wanted tactical use. For tactical use, I like at least a 4-inch blade, so another inch on that. And this is a Paraframe 1. There are 2 other versions of Paraframe. There's the mini Paraframe, which is even smaller than this, and then there's the Paraframe 2, which does have a 4-inch blade, and it's a larger knife, obviously. So that's the one I'd pick if I were going to use this for tactical use, but still I'd have some reservations about that, and we'll talk about that. Steel, I'm not sure exactly, because Gerber has this habit of not actually telling you what steel they use. So they claim that this blade is a surgical stainless steel. I'm not exactly sure what that means. You know, my Columbia River knife and tool, which I'm so fond of, tells me that it's an AUS 8A stainless steel, and my new Kershaw Oh-So Sweet tells me that it's a it's an AUS 6 stainless steel. So I know exactly what these steels are. No idea what this steel is. I'm guessing it's a 400 series, perhaps a 420, 420J. Because that's the kind of steel that it seems like for the hardness, or softness I should say, and edge holding capabilities. And they claim if you dig deep enough, you'll find that they say it's a 400 series, so I'm guessing probably a 420. It's a fairly soft steel, easy to sharpen. However, it doesn't take and hold a razor edge. I like to have razor edge knives, as you've seen with my Columbia River, which is rather sharp, and I like it to be so. So I keep it, you know, really slicing sharp. And this Kershaw Oh-So came razor sharp out of the box, so that's cool. This knife, you know, it's not bad, but it's just not as sharp. Doesn't take an edge and hold an edge like the other. And that's an issue I've had with Gerbers. My Gerber Evo, I have the same complaints about its steel. It's just a softer steel. Doesn't hold an edge like this knife or this AUS 6 steel in my Kershaw Oh-So. So that's a little bit of a complaint about the steel. Blade shape, you know, blade shape's decent. Clip or drop point blade here, and it's got an okay belly. I kind of like the blade design on this. I think it's kind of cool. I hate the serrations. I think Gerber serrations are stupid. I don't think they work. They rip things rather than cutting them. I guess if you were trying to saw through a wrist-thick piece of rope, maybe that would help, but if I were going to do that, I wouldn't use this knife, so I don't like that. Speed of this knife is okay. If you know how to deploy a knife well, if you have good technique, as I do, you can get that thing to come out quick. So, no complaints about the speed. It is a little bit hard to deploy because it's a frame lock, and the frame lock is very tight. It has, it just locks up real tight. So it's definitely not coming out by accident. As you can see, it takes quite a pull to get that out of there, but you can get it out quickly if you need to. So I have no problems with deployment speed on this knife. It deploys quickly. For a manual knife, it deploys quickly. So that's not an issue. Lockup and strength are actually really, really good on this. It's a frame lock, as you can see, and that frame lock is tight. I carried this knife for about 2 years as my primary carry knife, and it still has no wiggle. Well, maybe a little bit of wiggle, but nothing substantial, and the frame lock design is just really strong. That's a thick piece of steel locking that blade in, so very strong. I don't see that ever failing, regardless of the strenuous use you put it under. I just don't see that being a problem. Handle material, they tell us, is a 320, I believe, 320 stainless steel. So it's a stainless steel. It doesn't really matter the quality or hardness of steel for the handle like it does for the knife blade, so I don't care about that. But it's stainless. Ergonomics are good. It grips nicely. Not quite as nicely as this Kershaw Oso, which just feels so amazing in your hand. But the handle design, as you can see, is similar. So it actually grips quite nicely, especially if your hands are a little bit smaller. I find that my hands are a little bit big for it, maybe, so it doesn't grip quite as nicely, and I suspect that the Paraframe 2 would grip a little bit better. But ergonomics are good, no jimping, and basically a non-existent thumb ramp, so that's very smooth, and that's a reservation I'd have if you need to press this into tactical uses, that you could easily slide up. And this is not a very deep finger groove because the frame lock takes up part of it on the back there, and also the clip gets in the way a little bit, so I could see sliding up on this knife in a tactical situation, which is bad. And it doesn't lay into your palm quite as nicely as the Oso does, so I could see that being an issue. Of course, for everyday carry, that's not a big problem, because you're just going to be cutting stuff, you're not going to be making violent thrusting attacks. So, not a problem for that. Ergonomics are good for that kind of thing. Thumb stud is easily accessible. They've popped it up above the handle, and you can't get to it from this other side. They made it an ambidextrous thumb stud. I don't know why, because you cannot access that with the clip in the way. But thumb stud's good for right-handers anyway. Left-handed person, I don't suggest you get this knife because you won't be able to open it. Maybe with practice, but it's really hard to get to. So I think that's kind of stupid. Clip design, not really that great. They did a much better job with the Evo, which has a looped clip at the very top. So this thing hides all the way in your pocket. This does not. It's going to stick out about that much. More than the Kershaw Oso with a similar clip, which is going to stick out, about that much. There's just more sticking out. So, not quite as good clip design. Of course, it's just a straight, a little bit of a curve. No problem with the rest of the clip. I think it's well designed functionality-wise. So, no complaints there. Easy to get in your pocket, and it holds nice and tight. So, that's not a problem. Durability is excellent. It's an all-steel knife, so, no problems there. Handle material is going to hold up because it's steel. And the blade has held up well. A little bit soft, so you have to sharpen it frequently, but that's not a huge problem, I guess. I don't prefer this steel, but, it doesn't kill the knife. So, that's not a huge problem. And this pillared construction is fairly nice because it allows stuff to flow through the handle. Easy to clean. You can see no dust builds up in there or anything. And you can get dirt out of it pretty easily. So, this is about a $20 knife. And it's a good EDC blade. I wouldn't hesitate to buy one. However, that being said, I got this Kershaw Oso for $17.45. So, if I had to pick between these two knives, I'm going to go with the Oso. 3.5-inch blade. I like the blade shape a little bit better, and I think it's just a better value. However, Paraframe, still a good value.